So welcome to our hot seat for tonight. If you haven't been to this class before, it is an opportunity, one, to see how a transformation can happen in a short space of time. I do use not the entire Demartini method form that you may have been exposed to, but you get to see some of the questions being asked. And we do really go with what's presenting at the particular issue at the time. So how this class normally runs is we have people who have applied before we come to class. They're going to have an opportunity in less than a minute to share their story of what's been going on and what they'd like to work on. And then we're going to put out a poll, so you'll get an opportunity to have your say in who you'd like to see put in the hot seat. And then we will have 30 to 40 minutes with that individual to work on the highest priority challenge that they're going through. Sometimes our issues are really complex and there's a lot of things going on. Sometimes it's really clear. So we're going to nut that out. I am definitely for a story. So maybe there's a little bit different to what you might be used to. Is I like to hear some of the context in the story. So I will ask whoever is going to share maybe a little bit more about their story and what's been going on, just so I can get a really good grasp on what's happening in their inner world to be able to help them the most. So this is it is also somewhat of an interactive class. So yes, you get to poll and you get to ask, you get to vote for who you want. But also, if you have like a question you think, oh, that'd be really interesting to ask, if you also have some insights, if you see that they get a little bit stuck, then also feel free to make it interactive as well. It isn't just me sitting and asking the questions. If you want to participate, you are more than welcome to. I do suggest the individual who does choose just stay focused on me and them, and then because sometimes the other questions can get a bit distracting, and I'll just prioritize which ones we'll put through or not. So let's start with Steph. So if you can share in a minute or so what your biggest challenge is and what you're wanting to work on today.
Hi, Tanya. Hi, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity. Gosh, I know when I sent in the application, Tanya, I kind of wrote a nice long missive about what was going on, but for some bizarre reason, it didn't seem to save. So I'm going to have to just try and wing it. I don't know whether it's identity crisis or just overwhelm at the moment. But I'm really, really struggling just to move forward and to kind of know what direction to move forward. There's so many decisions that need to be made, both in terms of business, both in terms of life, etc. And at the moment, I don't even know like what the biggest thing is. Like I'm kind of like, shucks, do I work on my shit or do I plan, or like where do I even start to get some clarity and then certainty about that clarity? I think one of the big things is that it is now becoming this all-consuming, oh my God, what the bleep's going on. And I know a couple of weeks ago, we talked about some of the issues that I have with my daughter, and you said, well, maybe that's me embracing my critical side. And I'm thinking, I'd actually like to embrace the non-critical side, because that seems to be the only thing that's coming out at the minute. And I'm just, yeah, I honestly, I don't know if it's identity crisis or if it's just complete overwhelm, but I'm melting at the minute.
Okay, thank you, Steph. Robin.
Good evening, Tanya. Good evening, everybody. So in short, I had a bit of a rough ride the last 4 years. Started kind of with my best mate breaking up with me. Then I lost the practice I was supposed to take over. Then there was loss of a long-term relationship, which I thought was going to be my forever relationship. Then there was business failure due to COVID. Then there was very humiliating intellectual failure as well. And that kind of all peaked in me creating a health crisis for myself and almost dying from a pulmonary embolism. So that's a blood clot in the lung last year. So since then, I've tried to take some time off and reboot my life a little bit, but there's a combination of just lack of showing any interest that I want to make a significant change in my life, like not really taking any action to improve my situation, and also tremendous shame and guilt around, know all the strategies. I was really, really good overcoming significant life changes in my life. I've coached other people through stuff that's a lot worse than this, and I can't seem to be able to pull myself out of that. And it's just, what's the next step? How can I get my life back in order? Taking the next step to generate income, all that kind of stuff. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Robin. Lexi.
Hi everyone. So I'm currently dealing with like a little bit like Robin. I've got a lot of tools, I've got a lot of strategies, I've done the work, and I just can't seem to I guess implement it for myself, I guess. But I want to, me and my partner want to have a baby, and I am really fearful about passing down my patterns and my traumas, and I guess like I'm even like fearful to the point of like starting to doubt whether I can even conceive, and then I'm co-creating like other things that have come into my life that are going to take me away from having a baby because of obviously travel and the opportunities to travel with work and stuff like that. So I'm a bit like in this like push-pull sort of spot at the moment where I really want to have a baby, but I don't know if it's like my unconscious is like, hey, like maybe this is not the right thing for you yet, or like yeah, I just kind of want to move into motherhood confidently and like fearless. I don't want to conceive or be pregnant with this fear because I know the flow-on effect into the baby. So like I'm not yet pregnant, but me and my partner, we want to try in July, and I just want to sort of get a handle on what's going on for me internally before we proceed.
Okay, so thank you, Lexi. So if I do a recap so I appreciate the three of you sharing what has been challenging you the most. So how this is going to work is I'm going to put a poll up on your screen, and you're going to have an opportunity to vote for who it is you'd love to see in the hot seat for tonight or today. If you get selected, great, you get an opportunity to work in front of the audience. If you don't get selected, please also understand you've all similarly going through, like there's it's similar in challenges in terms of you'll get, even though someone else is being worked on, there'll still be some insights or even some questions you could write down that can also make a difference in your own life. So know that there's also going to be you can also have a transformation just by watching. Same with the people who are participating and not. There's always this every time there's this beautiful entanglement of going, I start to see something similar that's happened in my life. And so know that even if you're participating, you're also still entangled because you're here in this session, or if you're watching the replay as well. All right, so I'm going to put the poll up on your screen, and for some reason you have to give me 1 second. I have to save that one. Okay, cool. So there you go. If you can just vote for the individual you'd love to see. Okay, there's like just a couple of people left to vote. Maybe they're ones that like quickly, I've got to run to the bathroom just before we start. So we'll take it. I'd say it's pretty okay. So I'll share the screen, the results for you. So we definitely have Robin as the individual who you have selected to work on their challenge. So thank you. So still Lexi and Steph, still stay engaged, and you'll get benefit from this as well. Okay, so you'll notice that I'm going to take notes throughout the session as well. So if you see me writing or looking away from the screen, it's because I'm looking at my notes. And it's just because, one, it just helps keep me present, and it also helps me to go back over some of the things that Robin might say in his sharing of his story. It may also help me to, I might not highlight things along the way just because I think, I could definitely go back and have a look at that. So I'm going to be looking at that, as well as Robin's big face because I've pinned you, so I just see you. So I won't be able to see anyone else. But again, if you want to send messages to me either publicly or privately, you can do that in the chat section. So if you want to stay in it, I mean, you might be able to see a different angle from this Robin's experience or a question that might be really helpful for him. So definitely do make sure that you can add it in, or if there's any insights that you get in your own life, feel free to also share that as well. Okay, Robin. So you gave a lot of things that have been challenged. So can we just, would it be okay if we just go through, like,
Sure.
My sense was you were keeping to your 1 minute time and sharing a lot. So I just want to be able to, if we can go through all the challenges that have been happening for you, or the perceived challenges been happening for you, and then and paint me us a really good picture, so I can get a deep insight to what's going on, and then we'll work out what we'll prioritize and work out what you want to work on. So yeah, do you want to give us an overview of what's
Sure. Thank you everybody for the selection tonight. I really appreciate that. So I guess about 4 years ago, it was just a series of never-ending things of life just getting worse and hitting zero and blasting way past below zero into just not being able to deal with life particularly well. So it just kind of started with my best mate who was living together with breaking up with me. He was like suicidal at the time. It was not an intimate relationship, it was just a friendship. And then that kind of ended in a very bizarre, strange way. The next milestone was me starting a new career in chiropractic, landing a very good arrangement in practice that I was supposed to take over, and that under just very bizarre circumstances also disintegrating, and me then kind of struggling to get on my feet. There was just quite an abrupt change, and okay, for whatever reason things are not working out the way they're supposed to. Then I had met a wonderful woman who I was in a very serious intimate relationship with, and where I could definitely see myself, okay, this is my forever person, and this is all working out beautifully. And that also ended under circumstances where well that was not the breakup yet. I was starting in a new practice beforehand, a lot of things not working out there. Then the breakup, and the circumstances of the breakup were, I was under the impression we could have solved that with a proper conversation, but I was just like, no, this is not meant to be. And again, it left me very, very confused, and not just the sense of loss, but also just really that sequence of events, just really the universe turning against me, and that I was under the impression I had a reasonable understanding about how life works and how universal law works, and if I take certain actions that people respond to a certain way to me, and if I do certain things in my life, that certain things in my life happen or don't happen. And it was a very, very, very strange sequence of, this is like something is just starting to turn against me on a very, very fundamental level. And then with COVID, financial ruin, I was almost want to say, about a tremendous failure in not being able to build new practice I was starting in. Then trying to start a pre-PhD program at university. I was always very confident with studying and intellectual achievements and things like that. Failed that like spectacularly, and that's all. I guess if you want to label it, left me in very severe anhedonic depression, where I didn't leave my house for a couple of weeks, where stopped brushing my teeth, stopped showering. So just a very, very tremendous like self-depreciating behavior, lots of humiliation, lots of feelings of worthlessness and uselessness, being completely useless as a man, just really feeling like, I had a really good start in life. I had, good education, reasonable brain every now and then on a good day, and just having fucked everything up. Just really like all the opportunities I have that were given to me, all the opportunities I created for myself, that I managed to screw that up. And that lack of being able to deal with that created deep vein thrombosis in my legs. That's a blood clot in the leg that then I blissfully ignored for about 2 weeks. And then I ended up in my GP's office, and she was just like, look, so you've got deep vein thrombosis and you've got a pulmonary embolism, and we're going to call you an ambulance right now. And I spent 4 days in hospital, and I got like a sliver, like within reach of dying. Like she looked at my values and was like, you had less than 24 hours to live. And so that was significant. It left me.
Can we just
Yeah,
pause
sure,
on that one?
Sure.
So how was that for you? Just being told that you have like less than 24 hours to live?
Yeah, I didn't know at that time that it was less than 24 hours, but when I was in hospital, it was a serious experience of, who am I gonna make the last phone call to, how am I gonna get my affairs in order right now? And that was, at that point, I was still under the impression that I was very healthy. I was looking after myself physically, nutritionally, exercise, like all that stuff. And I hardly ever get a cold or a flu or something like that. And then, as like a first health issue to have, not being able to breathe and having a blood clot in your lung, it's not a great experience. And so there was, again, like this thing, how could that have happened? Like what's going on? Like what am I missing here? This was really my life going off on some weird tangent that didn't feel like, I was completely beyond my awareness and beyond my control. And also tremendous shame with, I'm a health practitioner, like how could, like when she told me you've got a pulmonary embolism, I'm like, yeah, of course, like what I have been, ignoring for the last 2 weeks, that's exactly what that is. And then just really being completely dumbfounded and not really realizing, I'm not feeling at home in my own life anymore. So yeah, that was that. And in hospital, it was, until I kind of got the all clear, I was under it was so embarrassing as well. It's like, what, this is how it's going to end? Like, that's pathetic. Like this, it could have been, like there's so many more exciting things how I could have died. And this is it, alone in hospital, like no family, no friends, nobody really knows about it. And then the next day I'm gone. Like, this is not really what I kind of had envisioned. So yeah, that was that part.
Okay, thank you for sharing. So if I just go through big picture, and I'll share it back with you, and you can say where. So there's been a lot of loss and a lot of what you perceive as like abrupt change. It's like, the first couple were like, it was an abrupt change, another abrupt, and then you use something which was a sentence which was like, turns against me on a fundamental level. It's like, again, that abrupt change of like, I didn't realize this was happening. So, and then again, it's this like like really messed everything up. And then particularly with around the health issue, like the ignoring. I wonder if you go back to, the relationship with your friend, with the career, whether the girl, were there other things that you might have been ignoring there and not having a full amount of awareness with what was going on?
Yeah, there must have been. So relationship-wise, I can, in hindsight, see maybe I was trying to make something work that was not really supposed to work out, and she had more maturity to see that. She was very religious as well, and I use very, very strong polarized language in my share. I'm aware of that, but I would describe her to be somewhat fundamentally religious as well, and this was one of the points of contention in the breakup as well. She was just like, look, I just don't see us, seeing eye to eye on certain things. So I was definitely probably not fully aware of the impact I was having on the relationship or the lack of compatibility in the relationship. Previously with the second practice I started in, it was probably just not a good fit. I was not the right person for it. It was not the right environment for me. And just, again, letting that drag on for a lot longer than it was meant to be. With the first practice, I'm not entirely sure what happened there. There's probably a lot of lack of my awareness of what I can and can't do in business. I'm very inexperienced in that area. I've never really had to do that. Lack of what the other person who was still the owner of the business, was his ideas of life and how to build a practice and all that were like. With my former best friend, I'm not sure. Maybe, again, me having a certain idea how he was supposed to deal with his problems and how I thought it would be a better idea to do so for him, and probably projecting a whole bunch of how that was supposed to happen, lack of awareness of what was really important for him, what his life goals were, what his perspective on life was what he really needed as opposed to what he needed from me. And then with the pulmonary embolism as well, I thought at first it was just, I put a rib out when I was sitting on the couch for too long. And for a period of almost 2 weeks, I actually had to sleep almost upright in my bed because could not lie down flat on my back, right? It's absolutely insane to like even say that, right? Because it was just so obvious what was happening there. But there was definitely lack of awareness of myself, my body, being able to ask for help, being able to deal with shame, failure, humiliation, worthlessness, uselessness. A lot of like I needed something that was severe and significant to kind of shock me back into reality. So yeah, probably a lack of a lot of more awareness than what I can see now.
Okay, so thank you. And you also said one extra thing, which was like, you don't feel at home in your own life. Would you also say at home in your own body as well? Or
less so now, but I like part of my daily re-establishing that relationship with myself is just really learning how to look after myself, learning how to experience kindness towards myself, experience self-love, what that feels like on a physiological level as well. I can become very self-critical with high expectations, and there's a whole other life story attached to that. But definitely a lack of having good habits surrounding self-love, self-gratitude, self-appreciation, self-worth.
Okay, so thank you. So if you reflected on the major points in your life, what would you want to get out of our session today? Like at the end of our session, if you could experience something different, see the world differently, what would it?
Yeah, I would probably the magic one scenario to experience a greater degree of self-trust and self-belief, because I think that the overshadowing theme was first of all, the universe turning against me, and me fucking everything up as well. So the combination of those things, I think that would be the big one.
And so what does self-trust look like? Just so that I know that we're on the same page. What does self-trust?
That's a good question. Yeah, it's interesting that this is hard to answer. I guess it would be being able to listen to myself, being able to be honest with myself, and really like having that connection with my inner voice that I used to have in my life, and being able to be okay with being me and following that. It's still very vague, very vague.
Okay, I see a path.
Okay.
So appreciate it. Thank you. What we're going to do is we're going to go through in order. So actually, we're going to start at your friend.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do some questioning that's going to help to really wake up that part of you that listens and that is honest with yourself, and the connection to your inner voice, and wake that up inside of you. So if we go back to your friend and we go back to the relationship you had, you're living with your friend and you perceived him to be going through some mental health challenges, suicidal, and you also said something around that you had an unrealistic expectation of how, or you had an idea of how he should be dealing with things.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Probably or definitely.
Wow. Yeah, I did. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So what was the hang on, just give me a second.
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to ask a bit of a different question that I would normally ask, but how did you know that that friendship was going to end?
Communication breaking down, behavior towards me changing, feeling that I was not really getting through to him anymore.
And like, if we backtrack, when did that start? When did you get a sense that that relationship was beginning to break down?
Like the first thing that's coming to me is like we're living in the same apartment, so his room was next to my room, and it was the night before my birthday, and he made a Facebook post along the lines of, oh, you know, if any of you still wanted to talk to me or something, now would be a good time, or something like that. And I spent the night before my birthday sitting outside his door on the floor, trying to figure out, like, not wanting to intrude and not wanting to freak him out, but basically listening, not quite with my ear on the door, whether he's trying to kill himself or not. I think that was when I was like, okay, fuck, you know, something isn't quite right here.
So,
but that was when I became aware of it, not when it started happening.
Okay, so was that you listening to yourself?
Was that me listening to myself?
Because that has to show some level of awareness and listening to yourself to actually get up, physically move.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and is that also certain that you're being honest with yourself about this relationship, or beginning to become honest with yourself about that relationship?
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay,
in a very uncomfortable way, but yeah.
Okay, so are you certain in that moment that there was an element of you listening and being honest with yourself?
Yeah.
Connection to your inner wisdom and voice.
Yeah. Okay. There was like authentic, intuitive behavior. Yeah.
Okay, great. So tell me another time where you knew that relationship was on the end.
There was some conversation we had in the car about, I don't even know what the topic was, and just really realizing, okay, yeah, we're not gonna come to an agreement here.
Okay, and so again, you realized something, and so are you certain in that moment? So
looking at it now, yes, I am. Yeah.
Okay, so I want you to go back into that moment where you're in the car and you just realized you're not going to be on the same page of someone else.
Absolutely. Yep.
And you know that the definition of realize is to be aware.
I did not know. I was not aware that that's the definition.
You're now aware. So it is. So you just realized. So you became aware in that moment. So tell me, and so how else did you know that relationship was coming to an end?
It was when I called the police to ask for advice. It's like, okay, what am I doing here? Like, do we need to call somebody and get him taken away, or do I leave it, or whatever? It was a very bizarre phone call as well.
Okay, so rather than seeing it as a bizarre phone call, just see it as a phone call. But tell me about that. Like, what led you to actually what led you to call the police in the first place?
Because I, at that point, knew I was not gonna go get through with anything that I had tried up to that point.
So is that connecting to your inner voice?
Yeah, like I had to hand myself over to like help and figuring out what to do. Yeah, that came from a point of trust. Yeah, I can see that.
Okay, are you certain of that?
Yeah, I'm trying to get a bit more, because yeah, you know, it was a phone call. There was discomfort associated with it. So yeah, there's a sense of that discomfort does not necessarily mean that something is going wrong, but that discomfort can also mean that it's a pathway to trusting myself, which is interesting.
Well, yeah, I mean, because what we're being able to, because you had said in the beginning that it was like an abrupt change. So then, but when we go back and you actually become more aware, that you noticed that there were signs. We normally get signs of the relationship deteriorating and breaking down. And so it's going back and really taking note of those and going, actually, I was listening to, I was taking action. I was being really honest. I was hearing my inner wisdom and my knowing.
Yeah.
And were you okay to be you, just out of curiosity? Like, were you okay to try and then it not work? Did you try and change yourself and meet his needs, or did you stay true to what was important to you?
Yeah, see, this is interesting because that's the theme as well in some of the things that I don't know if I can see it in all of the instances yet, but in that instance, I did stay true to myself. And this is why I felt it was so unfair, because like, how can that happen that, you know, I do the right thing and then things don't work out?
Okay, well, there's no right thing. So what would have been the drawback to him, your friend, if he had heard what you had to share and listened and applied what you had to share? What would have been the drawback to you and to him?
Okay, so I gotta dig for that one a little bit. That doesn't come easily. So the drawback to him probably would have, like, him ending up needing to listen to other people to figure out what to do with his life.
And what would be the draw? Probably or definitely?
Yeah, definitely.
And what was what do you perceive his challenge to be? That he was subordinating to people?
That he was not wow, okay. He was not creating a life worth living for himself.
Mm. So what would have been the drawback had he applied? Or he'd listened and did what you wanted him to do?
He would have ended up in a probably very long sequence of doing stuff and experiencing things that were even less interesting for him and less fulfilling for him. And you don't seem to like me saying probably, but he would probably have ended up being dead as a result of that.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you feel that one?
I do, yeah. And there is a degree of, I almost want to say, satisfaction, because ultimately, like, that was my goal, right? I wanted him to survive, and I had an inkling of, you can't have both. You can't have the friendship and him being alive. Sorry.
Yeah, but Robin, can't you see though that your action in not being able to help him was the very thing that kept him alive?
I'm fighting that one still.
We get so caught up in like our action, all the things we do. It's all the things we do that has to help people, but sometimes it's the things we don't do that actually.
Yeah. And what I was fighting is that the sense of that I didn't do enough, but had I done any more than what I did, he'd be dead now.
So can you be grateful for your inaction? And that it was actually
not yet. No, not yet.
What are you judging in yourself most about that? dynamic with your friend?
I'm very attached to this whole, we could have worked this out.
And so what would have been the drawback if you had worked it out and you had still continued the friendship? What would have been, what would you have perceived the drawback to be to you and to him?
Like, to me, I would never have met that woman. My life overall would have been probably stayed quite a bit smaller than it had become afterwards.
So did you get some of your life back again?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Mm. So is that what you were, because remember that the outer world is a reflection of the inner world. So when you're trying to save his life, are you really trying to save your own?
I couldn't quite see how I was sacrificing my life, but I was definitely starting to do stupid stuff, trying to fix something that didn't need fixing. So I did probably invest. Well, that I, you know, thinking I was not doing enough, and that I was putting effort in maintaining or creating a relationship that was past its best before date.
Okay, and so what would have been the drawback if you continued to put all this energy and effort in his life, in a life that he didn't think was worth living, instead of putting it in your own life?
Language, sorry, that's just stupid. Why would you do that? I don't know if I can do better than that on that one. But yeah, it's pointless. Like, there's a point at which you have to let go and just get a reality check, both for yourself and for other people.
So is that what your friend did then? Gave you an opportunity to get your life back again?
Oh, interesting. Yes, he did. He did.
Oh.
I had never looked at how he was trying to save my life, and that's what he did.
Do you feel that?
Well, I guess I didn't really see that I was in danger at the time, and maybe neither did he. I didn't think I needed saving. Isn't that interesting?
You don't see the world as it is, Robin. You see the world as you are. So if you're trying to save him.
If there is like a reflection principle happening.
Yes, if there is, which not in this case, ever, never.
It's so crazy how, yeah, that's beautiful.
Okay, so if you reflect back on that experience with your friend 4 years ago, do you feel that there is more? Do you feel like the universe is with you?
I do.
And do you feel like you're also making decisions that are perfect for you too? That there's
apparently so.
No mistakes and.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's look at the next one, which is the starting.
Can I get like 10 seconds?
Yes.
Please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
How do you feel having your life back again?
Could get used to it.
Yeah. Okay, let's try then. Let's do the next one. Okay, so started a new career in a new practice, and then again, you said that it bizarrely, abruptly changed.
Yes.
So follow the same line of questioning again. How did you know that it was going to end?
Being told one day, by the way, you don't need to come in anymore. That was basically the conversation.
Okay, so how did you know that it was going to end?
How did I know that it was going to end?
Yeah, like what were the signs? How did you, we're looking for the like the inner wisdom, the listening to yourself. How did you know?
Yeah, there were, let's see if I can make it specific. Because there were several instances of me getting a sense of moving in different directions here. And me getting a very strong, I don't know if I want to say righteous, but a very strong inner sense of no, but you have to stay firm here and say those things and do those things.
Okay, can we pause on that, and can we
Yeah.
just take one step back and go?
Sure.
Felt like you were pulled, you wanted to go in a different direction. What direction was that?
I had a very clear vision to which level I wanted to take the practice in terms of technology, in terms of reach, in terms of patient base, and there was a distinct lack of involvement and interest from the other person.
Okay, so do you see a vision of combining technology, which is and chiropractic together to be able to serve clients? Is that something that
Yeah, that's in the mix. That's a lot dimmer now than it was a few years ago, but it's definitely, it's been definitely on the vision board for a while.
Okay. So how else did you, so is that a pretty big one, given that your vision of where you'd like to see, it's like the difference between going to the moon and Mars, they're like completely different.
Yeah.
Is that big enough to realize that you had a different outcome that they had for the practice? And sometimes, even businesses have a life of itself.
Yeah, okay. So the recurring thing is that I do see, okay, didn't try hard enough.
You didn't try hard enough.
We've just worked through this though. Yeah, well, I feel it was my lack of, what was the main thing I got hung up on? Lack of communication, lack of being able to influence the practice to go where I wanted it to go. I think that's where the guilt is.
And so if you go back to that time, and if you were able to influence the practice in the way that you wished and hoped you had, and set it on the vision of merging technology with chiropractic, what would have been the drawback to you and the business?
All right, I have not disassembled that one yet. So let's see. So that would have led to me taking a lot of responsibility and being very involved and being very attached to whichever thing I would have built there or contributed to building there. And the drawback of that, like right now, I'm in a position, there's nothing there, there's nothing to lose. I can pivot and just do something else, and there's no attachment to that. So it would have locked me into that thing. Is that a drawback though?
Yeah. Well, what would be the drawback if you were locked into, if you look at your vision of where you at that time wanting to take it, what would have been the drawback of being locked in?
My mind just goes, no, that would have been so cool though.
I know, but the idea
I
that
know.
the language locked in shows that there is an element of caged.
Okay, I'll look at the drawback of that. So the drawback would be
Was it your first?
Was fighting that so hard?
Yeah. Was it your first? Was that your first practice that you worked?
Yeah. It was.
And so, what would have been the drawback if you had this big vision for the first practice you ever worked in?
Yeah. Look, I was very green, right? So I would have created tremendous, like unimaginable failure and defeat and not being able to forgive myself, and like it would have been inevitable at some point. That wouldn't have worked out. I don't think I would have been able to keep up with the growth that I wanted to create there, right? So I thought, what has happened was pretty bad, but I don't know whether I would have survived, a collapse of that thing after being so attached to, yeah, that's what I saw that 20 years ago, and that's what I wanted to do, and then being able to get to do that, and then something happening to that, I wouldn't have been able to sustain that.
You said, so if we just take a pause, and you said, I wouldn't have been able to survive that.
Yeah.
Like, not be able to survive being able to grow it to the way that you wanted to grow it.
Yeah. I wouldn't have, like, right now I struggle forgiving myself, and like had a kind of close call last year, but that would have been 10 times worse. That might have been it. So I guess I saved my life, eh?
Oh, really? The universe around you was saving your life by making sure that there was a no to that practice.
Yeah, didn't see it that way.
Can you appreciate the ending of that, or the beginning of a new journey for you?
Yep.
Okay. So you said with the girl that you can appreciate how that ended. So yeah, okay. So let's look at the PhD. And you said it was like a fail. Well, a spectacular fail is what you said. So tell me the high expectation you had because you only spectacular fail due to the high expectation you put on yourself. So what was the goal that you had for your PhD?
It was a bit more than high expectations, because I kind of went into this and was like, oh, this is going to be easy. How hard can it be to write a paper and publish it? And that was quite far removed from reality and my ability and my skill set. There was an element of completely dissociated arrogance that I didn't know I was taking into that when I started it. So what were the expectations? That I could do it a couple of days a week, and then I would just breeze through the milestones, and that I would enjoy the writing process, that I would enjoy the researching process, that may help elevate my profile, get my name out there, and that was just something that, oh cool, the universe is giving me this one now. Didn't work out, and building the practice, so now this is going to work out, and based on the self-image that I had at the time, that it was not going to be effortless, but very fun, natural, and easy.
Okay, so what would have been the drawback had you completed your PhD and it had elevated, in your perception, been the thing, the piece of paper that elevated your profile? What would have been?
I would have been probably seduced by some security that comes with working in the academic field, and would be stuck in an office somewhere writing papers, which is not a bad career, but I don't think that this is what I wanted to do.
So tell me about that.
I would again be locked into something that's like a cruise ship. If I wanted to make any slight course correction or something like that, it would have made that incredibly difficult. Would have given me a lot of structure, and just really steered my life into a different direction. Not a better one, not a more desirable one.
So what would have been so go back again, what would be the drawback if you had that piece of paper, the PhD, that helped to elevate your profile?
So that's around closing just as many doors as it would have opened for me. So it would have made it even more difficult to speak up or speak out against certain things because my career would probably be scrutinized a lot more in that role with that profile.
Robin, what would be the drawback then for you if you weren't able to have the freedom to speak up and speak out about certain things that you feel really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I get myself in a situation where I feel I have to can't express myself and I have to bite my tongue and I have to edit my thoughts and my words and my behavior, I have come to realize that that's slowly killing myself.
Yeah.
And I don't see how that scenario would have allowed me to ultimately express myself more freely and work in a way that I like working, being able to do the things that I do the way I like doing them.
So what's been the benefit then of not pursuing your PhD?
All these things just not killing me, hey?
It's like the universe is just pushing you to live. Even if you look at the pulmonary embolism as well, like pushing you to live. Because you're still here. Tell me what you're thinking and feeling.
I'm starting to get little glimmers of hard to fuck up my life. There is someone looking after me and making sure that it doesn't happen.
Why do you feel that is? Because if we go and have a look at your friend, you strongly believed in something that you wanted to share with him and you wanted to help him. You had a bigger vision for your industry than the business, wanted to grow. You wanted to do your PhD and grow in and level up in your career, except you didn't want to do it in a way that you were going to be not able to speak up and stand up for something that you believe in. It's like, it sounds like underneath all of this, that there is a cause, there is something that you want to stand for and that you believe in. But it's like the universe has been backing you this whole time. It's you've got to start backing yourself. So maybe it's a journey for you, in the coming months that it's about, a bit about self-discovery, but it's also about like what do you want to stand for? So it's less about what you do for a career. It's less about, what job you take or which business that you become a part of. It's like what cause that do you want to be? What movement do you want to be a part of? What is it that you just could not keep quiet about? Because when we have something that's so important to us, that it helps to put all the challenges we go through into so much more perspective. But it's when we lose sight of something, our bigger vision, that whatever that is, 5 years from time, a lifetime away, doesn't matter, centuries away, doesn't matter. It's like whatever that is, it helps to make all of those other points and challenges easier to understand.
Yeah.
So tell me how you're feeling about your life right now.
I did not expect this was going to go in this direction. I'm very, 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 very humbled to see that. I there's shame around the self-belief part, because it's something that is, it's undeniably true, and it's also something that I have not figured out how to approach that, where I do not know what to do to grow there, and a bit of fear around, oh cool, so the only thing you got to do is to do the thing you can't do, figure out the thing that you haven't been able to figure out. So that's where I'm at with it right now.
Okay, well, can I give you some homework? Would that be okay?
Sure.
Okay. So I think often, I know often most people, when they go and look for something they want to do in their future, they look to the future of what they're going to do rather than looking to their past. So what I would suggest is that you go back and you do a beautiful life review. So I'm going to do a quick share on this one. This is very impromptu, by the way, team. So in our business classes we do in Maximum Growth, one of the classes we do is called, what's your void? And so we do a review. So what you do is you go back through your life and you review all the things that are like your pain points, your challenges, the things that have been have really moved you in particular ways. They've either moved you that, like one of them for me was the Titanic, the movie. I remember seeing it at 16 and like leaving the cinemas and just like bawling my eyes out for ages, just going, God, like, what? And then it was like uncovering what was the meaning behind that. And so essentially what you do is you get post-it notes, you put all these like bits of information up. So all the pain points, all the things that have inspired you, or even the people that have inspired you most. And then you'll have something a little bit like this. And so there you'll have, and then some of mine are like I color coded as well, so you can get a bit fancy if you like. And then you just want to stare back at it. So you want to stare at it. What's this all revealing to me? So because our past is giving us beautiful feedback. That moment where you said, I just don't want to be not be able to speak up. Then speaking up must be important to you. So speak up would be a post-it note. It's also, there's an element of like, in the beginning when you're describing like intellect is important to you, and it's like, where did, what was the void that was kind of driving that? So you can put that void there, like not feeling smart enough, or other people around you doing better than you in your perception. And so just see if you can go back and do a beautiful review of all the past stuff that has been happening for you, because your physiology is giving you immense amount of feedback. Because when you are doing something that you're really inspired by, you just get lit up, you brighten up like a light bulb. And so you just want to go and take note of all those moments in your life and let your body reveal what you're here to do, rather than trying to get so caught up in your head. Would that be?
That's the key. Yeah, that's the key.
Because remember that when you're on purpose, you have enthusiasm and inspiration that runs through you. So let enthusiasm and inspiration be your guide.
Yeah. Okay, that I can do. That I get.
Yeah.
And I do. Yeah.
Okay. So I know that there's definitely more work that you could do, and our journey in this world is there's more layers that we can work on. But have you found at least the work that we've done today helpful for you, Robin?
Tremendously helpful, and you did that so elegantly and so beautifully, and it was from my end just very, very smooth and very, very, very gentle and extremely helpful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So thank you. So I know we did work through quite a bit. So if there was someone in the room that represents your best friend, someone that you worked with in the first practice and then the PhD, it can be 3 people, it can be one individual. Who would it be?
Let's have a look. So I've got Mike, if Mike is available for my former best mate. I would have Steve for the business partner. And I think it would be Alina for somebody in the PhD program.
Okay, great. So we'll start with Mike, if you want to unmute. Thank you, Mike. So if you've been selected for a reason. There's nothing random. There's no random, and there's also no random reason. Also, you're still here listening in for this session. So there'll be a lesson, a message in this for you. So take it down if you know that's like exactly, my situation. So take note of it and just take the lesson out for you. So Robin's going to share with you, Mike, about his experience. And then whatever you feel like, it's same with Steve and also Alina, whatever you feel in your heart sharing back is perfect. So, Robin, what would you like to say to your best friend?
Mike, can you say something real quick so I get you on the big screen?
Yeah, mate, I'm here.
Oh, cool. Thank you so much.
I could certainly relate to a lot of the things that you were saying, so go for it.
Cool. Just give me 10 seconds or so. I do want to thank you for being so generous with your with your teaching, and for just really standing by my side, getting me through uni and being able to start a new chapter of my life, of our life. And I do want to thank you for just really showing me a way to through sports and fun and activity, love myself and love my body, which I'd never been able to do before you allowed me to, just playfully express and experience my potential. And you deserve every bit of success and happiness and the community that you have created for yourself. And I hope that you take that to whichever big or small level you enjoy, so that it's right for you and you get to experience the same level.
I would say exactly the same thing that you said to me, to you. Just thank you for being part of my life. I would also say there's nothing to feel guilty about, nothing to regret. Everything was perfect, came into our lives at the perfect time. And I think Tanya said a nice line there. Do you feel like the universe is with you? And I certainly feel like the universe is with me, and so should you.
Thank you. Thanks, Mike. So, Steve.
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, Steve. So, Robin's been working on the business that he wanted to be a part of, but the universe had other plans.
Yes.
Robin.
Steve, may I have you on the big screen? Can you say something real quick?
I'm here, Robin.
Cool. Thank you. All right, that's a bit harder. This one is not as complete, but I do thank you for ending things the way you did when you did. I would have gotten incredibly attached and rushed into something I would not have been able to get out of anymore. And I appreciate the things that you did teach me and the time that you did spend on it. And thank you for sending me on a path where I can express my potential.
Yeah, no, I really hear you, Robin, and you came along with such vision and ideas that I didn't know enough about. I couldn't contribute or help you with, and I just felt I had nothing to advise you on them. I didn't know enough about what you were thinking or imagining. I felt I couldn't cope with all that, and I really hated letting you go, but I felt it was the best thing for both of us. So I hope you can forgive me.
I did not consider your side of this enough. I did not see that that was your experience of it.
You didn't say that he was
I did.
overwhelmed. Yeah.
Yeah, I did hold you and do hold you in very high regard, and I did not see your struggle, and I did take that very personally.
Yeah.
Does it feel more complete now, Robin?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Steve. And Alina.
I guess me.
Yes.
Hello.
Hi,
Thank you.
Robin.
Hi. I'm gonna need half a minute or so. Thank you for encouraging me the way you did. Thank you for fighting for me and defending me. And for being so so intuitive about what I can and can't do. There's a tiny bit of guilt because I felt that I did let you down. So thank you for standing up for me and standing up for yourself, and for showing me what leadership looks like and feels like.
Robin, I just felt every word of Tanya, and that we are here to design our own life, and that we're not here to rise up to somebody's expectation. And all I did, it was out of love, but you're here to experience and to design your own life. A lot of love.
Thank you.
I just knew that I'm going to be picked up before he. I just knew. I had certainty, really, before he said my name. So thank you. It was also a message for me.
Thank you.
So, Robin, I know there's still a little bit of work that we could do in the time that we have. Has that been interesting, insightful? What's going to be your takeaway for the session today?
It's incredibly beautiful. I have not been able to get in such an open-hearted space since I came out of hospital. I had a good couple of days after hospital, but not really since then. That was in August last year. Love your work. Love what you've built. Love how the community that you've created and the family you've created. And it's been very, 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 very beautiful to see that. I deeply respect that, and I appreciate that, and the fact that I could reach out, and that the universe decided today is the day. It's a big deal, and it feels possible now that I can put the pieces together. There's a truckload of work for me but it feels that if I put myself to it, that I can figure it out with a little bit of help from the universe.
Yeah, that was well, we just finished the first 5-day power walk where we walked through Sydney, and so often it was about for you to uncover what your purpose is, what you're here to do in the world, and but with your life, not just business. And so often we're like striving to look and find something on the outside, and it has to be big and grand, but we're forgetting that we are constantly getting messages from our body, from the the world around us, about what our purpose is. It isn't this kind of cosmic mystery that you're supposed to find out what your purpose is. It's actually, it's like, it's here. It's you're able to just have to open your eyes and become really aware of it. You'll get to see messages throughout your whole day that is showing you what your purpose is. Your physiology gives you beautiful feedback. Anytime you get tears, it's a feedback to say something's touched your soul. And it's like, can you listen to those messages? And then also string them together and put them together to find out what is it really saying. So it takes you a little bit of work, but that's worth working for or working at. And what's beautiful is the universe has your back. And I hope that you can go to sleep at night tonight and every other night for the rest of your life, knowing that the universe has your back.
Thank you.
So team, so I know we're like an hour and 20. So I'd love to hear from you, because Robin shared some really, interesting stories about, depression and suicide, as well as like loss of what he thought he really wanted to do, and then education, wanting to like really, step up there, but not being able to. And it's like, well, what part of the story touched you the most, and what lessons can you take out of this hot seat for you in your life? Lexi.
I'm just in a hot mess, but like it's totally related, like everything, like the self-trust. So even with my situation, it's not about like my patterns and my trauma, and it's just, it comes down to having a baby and trusting within myself and trusting within the universe, that the universe has my back, and like everything is perfectly aligned, and like all the other stuff's just bullshit.
It is.
Yeah. Like, thank you so much. That's just crazy.
So see how you come with your stuff, but it can still be profound to listen in, but how it's all beautifully entangled.
100%. I got so much out of that. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Tanya.
Thank you. So who else would like to share? I see we have Barbara said, yeah, for me, it's acknowledging of the signs and trusting the messages from the universe. And just said, thank you, Robin, for sharing and being so open. Really touched me today on your journey and the moments that resonated too. Thomas.
I just want to say, like, so much of that stuff resonated with me, because like where you were was basically where I was, especially with the depression. I was in a hole for about 4 months, November to February, and I know what it's like, and it's just like, it's tough. And I just want to say, Robin, like the stuff you've been through, and you're still here. It's really amazing, and it shows like as to who you are and what you're actually capable of. And I know, like, when you have those setbacks and setbacks and setbacks, you kind of fall into that vicious kind of cycle. I mean, I've done a lot of work on this myself, and there's still so much to do. and it's tough, but you are at the start of a virtuous cycle up. It may not feel like that, but you'll look back on those moments and just be so thankful, because it's like, there's a quote which I love, and it's like, let your mess be your message. And all those moments are like Tanya said, it's your purpose, and it's maybe hard to see it, but you're going to be so fucking grateful, man. So yeah, this helped me out a lot. This resonated a lot. And yeah, I know where you are. I know where you've been. I know how you feel. And yeah, just well done. Well done on sticking it out. And give it a few months and years, and you'll be amazed at where you've been and where you are now and where you're definitely going to go. So yeah, just wanted to share that. Resonated a lot. Thank you for having the courage to speak up as well.
Thank you so much for saying that.
You're welcome.
And Lilia.
Hi, Tanya. I really impressed with the whole journey in the process, the way how it's one event linked to another and just to the same message. Because at the beginning I said, how the hell Tanya is gonna deal with that, because so many events, it's just like chain after like one after another. But you've so done you've done it so beautifully, and just come to the same outcome, like everywhere at every step. It's just like trust. Thank you so much, and Robin, for you as well, for being part of that journey. Yeah,
it is interesting, like when someone gives me their mess, as Thomas said, they give me their mess, and I'm like, okay, now it's like so I'm thinking when they're sharing it, and I'm taking notes, and I'm like, oh, okay, I can see how somehow they're all going to be threaded together, because they normally don't share random things. They share information that's important, and putting those pieces together and trying to figure it out, which is why I thought we'll start from the beginning, because it's like, oh, I don't know which one. Let's just start from the beginning and go from there.
And it's from the point of the expertise, like, when I watch you, how you do it, like, it's just enormous learning as well, how to link the things together. What you're saying even now, that it could be something common, or like something is like around, it's just around.
Robin, if you go back and re-listen to the beginning, he gives you, when he shares, he gives you beautiful. That's why I love the story, because the story is so rich in information that you can use for being able to help someone. And so if you go back and listen to what he said, it's like the abrupt change.
Yeah,
the universe turned against me on a fundamental level.
Yeah.
And so all of these things, like I fucked up everything, and it's like, and the universe doesn't have my back, and it's like, oh, so I'm then going, how can we somehow, not through me saying it, but through him, coming to a realization of feeling really supported. So you hear a lot of richness in the pain and the suffering.
Yeah, I can hear the words, the words he is using. It's like some of them extreme, but at the same time, the stories are different, but they're linked. This is just amazing. Anyway, thank you so much.
You're welcome. And Steve. Oh, I just need to unmute again. Yep.
Look, I just want to basically acknowledge you, Robin. You came in, your level of self-awareness was quite astonishing. You were reading so many things, and what the other thing that amazed me was how you read the situations that you were in, and there were so many different ones, but they were all giving you the same message, really, when you unpacked it. But you read them a certain way, and that to me helped me realize a lot about my own life journey as well. It's our perspective on things, but I can see by the look on your face now that you are reading them differently now, which is an amazing gift. So I just enjoyed watching the whole process and seeing you feel it and really understand what's going on now. And good luck for the future. That was awesome tonight. Thank you.
So
thank you so much.
We have lots of comments in the chat, which is beautiful. So thank you, team. if I look at also the reflection for me when I was, now that I'm kind of on the other side, what's really, really interesting that I wanted to share with you as well, particularly Rob, and maybe also help everyone here, is that, we can understand our life by connecting the dots backwards and figuring out where we've been. And sometimes it isn't, sometimes we go on when we do things out of feeling, and we do things because there's like a certain kind of congruence. It feels like it aligned, but we don't really know where it's kind of leading to sometimes. And so if I go back and reflect on like my ending of my marriage, which was only married for 13 months, not very long. So, and that was pretty big in my perception, like loss, and then having another loss, and then having some like really big emotional challenges that I struggled to be able to deal with, that led me on to having health challenges, and kind of this like bombardment of like lots of challenges. It's really only until when I delivered my first power workshop just recently, it felt like almost that moment. So last Monday, Monday, that when I was sharing like closing, it was almost like someone, if I could describe it, put all the pieces of my life and all the pain points of my life and put them together into this one moment. And it's like, this is why you've gone through all of this, because this is what you have to deliver to the world. Like, it was just this like culmination of so many pain points and so many challenges, but it's like, this is the reason now. And so I just want to gift that to you, because maybe you're trying to find something that you don't have enough of the pieces of the puzzle to put together to figure out what it is. That sometimes it's just knowing the universe has your back, and no matter what challenges you go, there's meaning in it. And it's just the more we can extract the meaning from each of the challenges we go, that know that at some stage that things will also come together for you as well. You just got to keep on doing the work. So thank you, team, for coming along for our hot seat. I hope that you can get lots of love. I see lots of love for today. So if you have thought about coming to our maximum growth classes, we do have an opportunity where we do a live demonstration, and we have opportunities to do the work as well. So you get to learn some quality questions to ask yourself. If you found this interesting, you're like, wow, I'm using majority of the time, I'm using the questions. Maybe it's a bit more conversational than you're also used to in the classes, and that gives you an opportunity to really come and apply the questions to your life and to yourself, so that you don't have to live in these extreme emotions and to be down and out for longer than you choose to. So if you are interested in coming along, we've got a link in the chat section, also in if you're watching the replay in below as well. So I would love to see you in one of our classes, and if not, I will see you at the next perfect time. So thank you, team. I'm going to put the chat in here. There you go. And then if you also know anyone, like, we do have replays of all these sessions. So if you know anyone who maybe goes through something that's similar to what Robin's gone through, then feel free to get them to watch the replay. And we also have lots of other sessions that we've done replays on this as well. So we have this hot seat, which is normally every 2 months. So if it's something that you hear someone along the journey who goes through something really painful or challenging, just get them to come and apply for the hot seat. You can also find it on the website, which is maximumgrowth.co, and you can get them to sign up for the session so that they can have a transformation in normally about a 40-minute session. So thank you, team. And thank you, Robin. Very grateful for your
so much to you and to everybody tonight.
Yeah, thank you. Like, it shows it's a lot to share your vulnerability and share all the pain points, and you know, especially if you felt like, gosh, I've not really, you know, not done what I wanted to do, and then publicly share it. So I'm very grateful. I know a lot of people can go and look back and go, man, if you can see perfection in all of that, then they can do the same thing for their life too. Thanks. Thank you. All right, team. Well, that's a wrap for us tonight. I hope you have a beautiful rest of the evening, and thank you for joining us. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Steve, as well. Thomas, Kieran. Thanks, Steph. Hope you got Steph, and thanks, Renika. Thanks. I hope you got some insight. Great. Amazing. Thanks, Louise.
Thank you, Tanya. Thanks, Robin.
Have a beautiful day or evening, and I'll see you soon. See you, Lilia.
Thank you.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye.